Tonight, on Legislative Review. A proposed sales and use tax to fund law enforcement. Plus, high school civic education. And expanding the state's Good Samaritan Law. All that coming up on Legislative Review. Welcome and thanks for watching Legislative Review. I'm Angela Nolasco. A controversial new proposal sparked debate on the House floor Tuesday afternoon.
Not everybody who supports their police wants to be held hostage with a tax increase in order to feel safe in their community.
I know that it's hard to talk about, Mr. Speaker, but taxes do pay for law enforcement, public safety, and many, many other things in community. Mr. Speaker, I've talked to people in communities from across our state who acknowledge that by funding local resources, we are funding the police.
House Bill 2015 proposes to allow cities and counties to impose a sales and use tax of 0.1% to fund a new local law enforcement grant program, which will support the hiring, training, and retaining of police officers. Revenues would also go to criminal justice efforts like victim services, public defense, and juvenile reentry. Proponents say that while Washington state ranks last nationwide in officers per capita, the bill provides a critical solution, especially in counties like King County, which is facing a budget shortfall and potential cuts to public safety services. However, critics argue that it would worsen the tax burden in Washington, which is already facing an affordability crisis. They say the state has already implemented multiple tax increases and that it would disproportionately affect lower-income families because sales taxes tend to be regressive. Some also don't agree with local governments imposing a tax without voter approval. Democratic Representative Deborah Entenman sponsored the bill.
We have money to pay for increased number of law enforcement officers, an increased number of support services in the criminal legal system in our community, an opportunity for us to work toward community policing, and I believe a Washington state that will be safer.
Speaking against the bill, Republican Representative Matt Marshall.
We don't have any accountability in this. The people don't have a say. We need to take actual, objective, tangible measures. We need to look at our budget, and we need to take real action, not just raise taxes on our citizens when we already have record revenues and record spending.
The House voted on the bill after debating 10 amendments.
The Speaker is about to start the roll call machine. The Speaker has started the roll call machine. Has every member voted? Representative Paul. Does any member wish to change their vote? The Speaker has locked the roll call machine. The Speaker has locked the roll call machine. The clerk will take the record.
Mr. Speaker, there are 54 yeas, 42 nays, 2 excused.
Having received a constitutional majority, the gross substitute House Bill 2015 is declared passed.
House Bill 2015 passed and will be reviewed by the Senate.
Senate Bill 5637, the Secretary will read.
State senators gathered on the floor Wednesday to discuss a bill aiming to expand what students are learning in high school civics courses. Senate Bill 5637 seeks to incorporate essential lessons on media literacy and civic engagement, 2 areas that have become increasingly important in today's fast-paced digital world. Under the proposed legislation, students would gain access to lessons that teach them not just how government works, but how to navigate the digital information they encounter. The bill would require that high school civics courses cover a range of topics, including the basics of voter registration, how elections work, and how to identify misinformation online. The goal is to better prepare students to make informed decisions and engage with the democratic process. Supporters believe today's students are bombarded with information on social media, and it's crucial that they learn how to separate facts from ideologies. The bill was sponsored by Republican Senator Phil Fortunato.
Students across the state would have a similar presentation on what, and be taught similar things on what the basic core of civic education means. For example, Mr. President, the current law specifies that the naturalization process taken by non-citizens to become a citizen would be included. And what the bill does is add to that the balance of power between the three branches of government, et cetera. So it's a good bill, help educate our children, and hopefully they will be able to go back and educate their parents.
Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle agree. Also speaking in support, Democratic Senator Deb Krishna-Dawson.
I was very proud of the students coming forward, bringing this civic duty and awareness to our students in our schools, and appreciate Senator Fortunato for bringing it forward.
Mr. President, there are 48 yeas, 0 nay, 1 excused.
Having received a constitutional majority, Senate Bill 5637 is declared passed. The title bill will be the title of the act.
Senate Bill 5637 passed unanimously and heads to the House of Representatives for further consideration.
House Bill 1574.
In the House, yet another contentious bill whose outcome could have significant implications on Washington's ongoing opioid crisis. On Wednesday, state representatives discussed House Bill 1574, which seeks to protect access to life-saving care for substance use by expanding protections for those involved in a drug overdose emergency situation. Under the state's Good Samaritan Law, people seeking medical help for an overdose, either for themselves or someone else, are protected from being arrested for drug possession. The bill builds on that by preventing arrests and prosecutions for those who call 911 about an overdose. But it doesn't stop there. It also aims to protect healthcare facilities by allowing them to distribute harm reduction supplies, like syringes and drug testing equipment, and extends immunity from prosecution to clients of syringe service programs who are testing substances. Supporters believe this is an act of compassion that will save lives amid the dramatic rise in drug-related overdose deaths in Washington, and make it easier for people to seek medical help without fear of arrest. But critics say they're concerned about its potential impact on law enforcement and public safety. They argue that limiting police powers could put officers at risk, and they worry that people who are granted immunity to avoid prosecution might abuse the system for other crimes. Democratic Representative Nicole Macri sponsored the bill.
This bill will save lives by doing two things. One, making some modest improvements and expansion to our Good Samaritan Law, and secondly, by providing, allowing for some of our healthcare providers to provide services and supplies to people to reduce the harm that illicit drug use can have.
Speaking in strong opposition, Republican Representative Deb Majerus.
It is the wrong approach, and the people of this state want them to go to jail or treatment and not let them languish on the street like we are doing. So, and the harm reduction? Are you kidding me? We're giving them paraphernalia to keep doing drugs? I mean, this is insane legislation, insane. And the people in my district, and I think all across the state, we are not, it's not compassion. We're not helping these people. We are hurting them.
The House took a floor vote.
The Speaker is about to lock the roll call machine. The Speaker has locked the roll call machine. The clerk will take the record.
Mr. Speaker, there are 56 yeas, 41 nays, 1 excused.
Having received a constitutional majority, engrossed House Bill 1574 is declared passed.
House Bill 1574 passed on a 56-41 vote and will move on to the Senate for review. And that's a wrap for this episode of Legislative Review. Join us nightly at 8 and 11 to keep up with what's happening in the legislature.